notifications, etc. If you do still have any concerns after that, feel free to let me know. Just direct message me, blah blah blah. But moving on to the next topic about having a good physical and social impression. He's absolutely right. If you're some fat sack of shit with a neck beard and you're very socially awkward, you can't even talk to a female without freaking the fuck out. It's gonna give a bad impression. That's why everyone thinks that people that are alt-right or fascist, blah blah blah, anything and everything, are just people that are keyboard warriors. They like anime, and they have body pillows filled up with so much cum they stand on their own. That's the way most people see us. If you're some lumbering dude and you're fucking jacked, you look like you could beat somebody's ass with one hand tied behind your back, and you're very well spoken, you're very eloquent, things to that nature, you're gonna get a lot better reaction out of people whenever you speak to them. If you say, hey, the world's going to shit, obesity is a problem, and name off all of these other issues that for the most part are related to physical or social standards, people are going to listen to you a lot more just because you actually look like you know what the hell you're talking about.
Question: what if you're huge and jacked, but you have a body pillow filled with cum? Do you
just don't let me know that?
Okay, should I burn it and get rid of it?
Yes, please. You should just stop watching anime.
So, Franklin, just as a little bit of a side note, I don't know if this will go too far, but I'm just curious, were you here when Krieger was at least the...
What's it called? Where the Discord was a thing.
Okay. I was just curious as to that, because if you were to look into High Command Chat as of now, you might... I don't know if it was deleted or not. I had responded to some questions to Merc, and I had brought up the idea of meetings being more planned out and more, I guess, eloquently spoken and such. And my distaste to how the current meetings, as of late, are heading towards. What are your responses to that?
I think you're absolutely right. If you just kind of, let's just say Conquistador personally asked me to hold a meeting 30 minutes in advance. Like, hey, I can't be there. I need you to do this. And then gave me the topic to talk about. I'm not going to have any preparation time. I'm not going to have any idea what the hell to say. Like, you could tell right now that I am, if I had time to plan things out, I would have been in a much better situation to speak to you about this. But besides the leadership change, I had no idea about anything that was happening. This second topic here about the need for a good physical and social impression. That was something that was completely unbeknownst to me, and something he just kind of threw me under the bus with. I think you're completely right. I think there is a duty on leadership to actually communicate with each other, get things figured out before you drag a bunch of different people into a meeting and expect them to sit there and listen to you for a good 30 minutes. I think that's an honest expectation of leadership.
And so I kind of brought that up because I'm seeing... I'm not trying to throw you under the bus or anything, because this has happened with the other sergeants. I remember Lightning, and I can't remember, Radishan, I believe, has also hosted a meeting before. Whereas, and only, about maybe half an hour before the meeting even commences, a call out by Conquistador or Merc in saying, hey, I can't be there, and here's the topics. It's just, my concern is that this happens much too often, in my personal opinion, that these higher ups aren't really able to actually attend these meetings, in which they are a very critical asset to.
Could we designate a meeting officer then? Someone there to lead the meetings,
Someone guaranteed to be able to make it to the meetings. Yeah.
Right. Right, exactly. That's a good idea because, with the higher ups and their crazy schedules, if we happen to have someone who knows for a fact that on a certain day they have time off, they're not doing anything, they can go ahead and lead the meetings. And we can have a meeting officer, they'll take care of the meetings. Higher ups just say, here's the stuff to talk about, here's what you can use to talk with everyone, have it discussed, and go from there.
That does sound like a good idea in theory, but the fact of the matter is, no one is 100% going to be free every single time. And I know that's not the point that you're making. Just someone who generally, for the most part, is there just in case something like that happens with the higher ups. And occasionally they won't be there, but the higher ups will be, et cetera, et cetera. I understand all that, but giving someone a role for something just as simple as, hey, I just need you to show up to meetings and lead them sometimes. That's not something that we need currently with the group size. Right now, what we're focusing on is we're cutting a lot of the current roles we have, such as survival officer, chaplain, et cetera, to better focus what resources we do have. We're going to have very simple things. We will have a vetting officer. We will have a, what's it called? Yeah, vetting officer, and we go read what we were going through. Yeah, a vetting officer, a communications officer, and possibly a librarian. Right now, we're only focusing on having 2 officers just because that's what our resources allow, and possibly a few sergeants to help assist them in their roles, etc. Further details, I will put it up with the application process, but it's just something that until we have a bigger group size to where meetings are getting much more larger, you know, one thing I said I wanted to shoot for was within 3 months, a population of 200 and meetings of at least about 50 plus people. Until we get to a point to where we actually need to appoint somebody at that, then they're just kind of sitting there with a rank, kind of like Phil was, barely showing up to meetings, and just kind of sitting online all day, looking active, looking pretty, but not doing shit.
I admire your goals and aspirations for the group, but honestly, I cannot see a active user base of at least of 50 people.
You would
In
have to
the
merge with
heyday
another
of
group to
Krieger, at
achieve
most
that.
we had like 20 people in each meeting. At the heyday per se, and that was with Krieger trying to keep everyone interactive with everything. Right now, as I kind of even mentioned a little bit later, right under that post, I believe, or the post under in the high command chat, I had mentioned that Dipsky and I had both spoken about trying to keep the group active within meetings, and seeing that might be able to actually help with the interactivity and the activity on the group. And that I just honestly I can't see within 3 months being having like 50 people in one meeting. That's just at most
Oh,
we had 20 people. That was months ago.
no, I understand it is very, it is a lot of aspiration, and it's not a realistic goal. That is something that I'm hopeful for. A realistic goal is around 20 people, but I'm hoping for, what's it called? I'm hoping to have that numbers. It's a personal goal that I have set for myself, but as a group, as a whole, it's not something I expect. It's kind of like, you tell yourself whenever you go to work out or something, and you're like, hey, I want to bench press 230 today. You're going to work hard as fuck to get to that, but it might not happen, but it's going to push you a lot further than you thought you originally could have went. It's giving yourself a goal that's almost within reach in hopes of getting as close to it as possible. Um, One thing I do want to say is, I do appreciate all this feedback, and these are important topics, but for the most part, I do want to get to, the meat and bones of things, and I do want to, type out the application process. I do want to type out all these things, and these are things that we can talk about. We can schedule a meeting with the higher ups once they have been reappointed, blah blah blah, and we could talk about all these issues. But as for a general meeting, with a lot of members here that are using their time, I don't want to keep them here too long talking about things that would be better suited in a high command meeting. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
Fair enough, but I do think that it is important for the rest of the people to hear to at least get judgment from.
Yes. No, I understand. Here, I'll make you a deal. Let's get these applications put out. Let's get leadership reappointed. Let's talk about these things amongst ourselves, and then once all of it's done, said, and handled, then we can address these issues in general meetings. But for right now, what's it called? We have set topics, and we do occasionally stray from them, but it is like you said, it's important to stay on topics of meetings and not variate too much differently. It's you want to have it nice said nice and elegant. You don't want to sit here and be redundant all day because then people are just going to lose interest. So, um, the importance of giving a good physical and social impression, that is something that is extremely important. Like I was saying, if you're some big jack dude who takes care of himself and is a well-spoken person, you're going to get a lot more respect from your peers. If you are a social outcast and you're overweight, no one's going to listen to you. That's just the way it is. I don't know what it is about. Well, I know exactly what it is. Human instincts tell us to search for healthy people that seem to have a higher intelligence, and being in shape and you know actually knowing how to present yourself and present your case in an intelligent manner, it's going to get a lot more people to listen to you. It's extremely important, and it's not something that you should take lightly whatsoever. Being in shape is a lot more than just your own health. It's how people look at you. It's you know over 70% of first impressions are made in the first 3 seconds based off of your physical uh, aspect. If you have let's say you went out to a restaurant and your waiter or waitress came over to you and they were absolutely fucking ginormous. You're probably going to think a little less of them. You're going to be like, why haven't you been working out? Why have you not been trying to lose weight? All these things you're going to be thinking in your head. And they're going to have to do a lot to win you back over to thinking, hey, you know what? This person's not so bad. It's kind of the same way in a general social stance. Like, if I sit here and I'm telling you all these things and turns out I am like 5'8" and I'm fucking 300 pounds and I got some lamb chops going on and I just look like sorry sack of crap, you're all gonna think a lot less of me, and you're probably not gonna listen to things that I say as intently as you normally would. The impact that being well spoken and having a good physical stature can have on other people is an amazing thing. Um, if you take a look at all the people that listen to bodybuilders and fitness coaches and all these things and use them as examples, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of people love to quote his inspirational quotes based on the simple fact that he knows what he's talking about. Whenever he talks about how much hard work it's going to take to get to a point where you want to be in life, you know, et cetera, you believe him because he's put in thousands and thousands of hours into work on just his body. Never mind his actual, like the other aspects of him, like his, social being, himself as a person. Just looking at the amount of work that he's done on himself on just his physical stature, it gives you kind of an elevation in their mind. They're like, you know what? This guy knows how to work his fucking ass off. I should probably listen to him. It's extremely important. And, this group, while we do sort of, focus on keeping yourself healthy physically, mentally, all these other things, it's not just for, if the world ended right now, so you could fucking outrun somebody trying to steal your last meal or some shit. No, it's for many, many, many other reasons. Does anybody have any comments on that?
Is 12-ounce curls every night a good workout?
Can you repeat that?
Are 12-ounce curls considered a good workout every night?
um, I personally don't know your fitness level, and I couldn't tell you exactly what you need to be doing.
That was a joke. That was a joke. Really bad one at that, but a joke nonetheless.
I would, yeah, but on the stance of being physically active, all of your needs are going to be a lot more different. The biggest thing to focus on, not everybody can squat 600 pounds, not everybody can bench press 300 pounds, etc., etc. What you need to be focused on is handling what you can, improving on it every time, and working on a different part of your body every single day. You want to wake up and be sore in different areas that you didn't even know existed.
For food wise, ectomorphs, you guys are going to need to eat protein and tons of calories. Mesomorphs, you're just going to need protein, and if you're an ectomorph, protein and very few calories. That's nutrition in a nutshell. Although it's very complex, but that's a starting point.
How would you
Um,
tell which one you were?
Ectomorphs are super skinny. Mesomorphs are about average size, and then endomorphs are your roly polies.
one of the things that I do want to kind of harp on a little bit. Damn, I lost my train of thought. um, your physical prowess and all these types of things. It really is a statement to other people about how far you're willing to go for the things that you believe in. If you believe in fitness and health, you're going. People are obviously going to be able to tell that you don't just sit around larping all day. You believe in the shit you say, and that's an extremely important way for people to look at you. Um, so just to kind of bring the meetings to a close and to wrap things up, does anyone have anything else that they'd like to say, mention before I go ahead and end things out here?
Thank you for the information that you have presented to us today. I would like to.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Hopefully we can all get our roles back as soon as possible, even get promoted to help fill the lack of quality officers in the future.
Yeah. What's it called? I'm not gonna lie to you. The officer role, it was something that in Eisen's Mercs and Eisen's and Mercs time was kind of handed out extremely freely. It's not going to be like that anymore. Um, one of the biggest issues is people saying that they would do something and then they do step into it and they're like, "This is fucking boring," or "I can't handle this," blah blah blah, and never stepping out of it, never admitting to themselves saying, "Yo, um, I don't, I can't handle this." They can't man up to it. They would rather just sit there looking pretty, dragging everybody else down. And we want to ensure that we don't run into that problem again. Huge problem of inactivity was present in officers. Like Scorp, we gave him a pass for way too long. He had his finals. That was understandable. You got to study for that shit. You got to do your shit. Cool. Go for it. But as soon as finals were over, like, he came back and was regularly active about halfway through this month. Finals were over for a month and a half after that. Anything past that, you're just taking a little personal breather, and you're just like, "Oh, sure glad that's over." And that's inexcusable. If you legitimately do need, a break from everything, be honest about it. Say, "Hey, this and this happened, or I've been doing this and this. Please, just give me about a week to just kind of recuperate." Or it's understandable. All right, you're excused. Take time off. Just kind of sit and chill. Like I did it earlier. I took leave and I went home and saw my family, and I was talking to Conquistador about it. I did make one of the meetings, but other than that, I was not too active. And that's something that's okay to do. If you want to spend time with family or friends, or you just need a time to just sit the fuck down chill. I'm gonna respect you a lot more if you're honest with me about it instead of just sitting here inactive, looking at all the things you should be doing and not doing. Any further information that I have is going to be put out into announcements. I'm going to put, before I get the application process set up, I'm going to put, information about what each role you're going to be expected of. And I want everyone that is interested in applying for leadership to look at it and genuinely ask themselves, am I going to be able to handle this much responsibility? Because time for slacking is over. Uh, you know, things are kind of slowing down. We're getting more people into my base. I'm about to become a lot more active, and I was really hoping people would step up and actually start taking action. Moving towards doing things, and uh, Conquistador. I was really hoping he'd get a move on. Removing inactive people. I think I might have to do that one myself. And it's something that's extremely disheartening because just the lack of activity that is present. It's something that is extremely worrying to me because I myself am motivated to actually do something. Uh, Once I get some better internet, I'm gonna create a YouTube channel. I'm gonna start slowly handing out red pills, and I'm gonna be working on other things than just sitting here showing up to meetings and every now and then popping into the betting server and be like, "Yo, who wants to join our cool little friend group?" No, that's dumb as shit, guys. I want to try and get in contact with Eisen. I want to kind of get what some of his original goals, some of his original focus from the source itself, because everybody can say, "Oh, well, when Eisen had control." I don't want to do hearsay. He say, she said. I want to talk to him. I want to kind of figure out what the fuck he wanted to do. I want to try and get back on the original track that we were on. No,
Absolutely, I aspire that you do that. It's wonderful that you would like to do that. Try to get back on the rails and see what you can do about that. That's wonderful.
yeah. Now I don't. By the way, the meeting is concluded. If anybody does wish to leave, you feel more than free to do so now. I'm just gonna sit here and preach for a little bit, for a few minutes before I have to go. This isn't at all a bad mouth against Merc or anything, but whenever he took kind of control of the group and had the reins, and he wanted to make it a like a prep group, that pissed me off. That really did. I was like, that was not the original focus of this group whatsoever, and I'm pretty sure Eisen would not have allowed that to happen if he was still active within the Discord. He would have shut that shit down immediately. Um, I do want to try and get Eisen to be a little bit more active in here. I know that he is a pretty busy person, but he did start this, and he is a pretty good speaker. If he can come to a meeting every now and then, kind of talk about some things, that would be wonderful because seeing him right there at the top of offline, Visor Krieger. Hey man, you're not really advising us too well. But to kind of get back on track, yeah.
Not keeping the flock in the herd.
Yeah, exactly. We're all here because of you, asshole. Come check us out every now and then. Yeah, I really want to crack down on inactivity. I want to start, recruiting people. I don't want to. We're going to. There's no doubt in my mind that um, me and Conquistador will be able to apply, or not apply, to at least give halfway applicable people the role, at least until we can fill it out in a better way. But, for now, we need people that are actually going to give a damn about what we're doing here. This isn't a LARP group. If you do like sitting here LARPing, listening to these meetings, and thinking, hey, we're going to change the world, and yet, once the meeting is over, you go and you chase your vanity, you go to a party, drunk, you go have premarital sex, and you use drugs, you don't exercise, gluttonous, all these types of things that are detrimental to you. I don't want you in this group. I do not want you to be around me. The one thing I hate more than somebody doing these things is them lying about it. If you if you straight up tell me I'm addicted to alcohol and I can't control myself around it, I'm gonna respect you a lot more than I can quit anytime I want. It takes a man, it takes someone who's got some big fucking balls to admit when they have a problem. If you don't want to admit that, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, hey, that's kind of what I'm like. Either change your shit, get the fuck out. I don't want you here. Nobody does. We need to start taking this shit seriously. We need to start getting into a position to where we can actually take action, because there's not enough of it. Any type of action that is being taken is just being dismissed by the media as hate speech and all these other things. If we can get a big enough voice to where people can come to our information directly and not just what CNN says, maybe, just maybe, we have a chance of educating more people, getting more people on our side, growing our numbers. That's the entire goal right now. There's no, all right, get one of us elected as president or some bullshit goal like that. That probably won't happen. But if we can at least get enough people educated and enough calling for the types of policies that we would want to implement, the parties would have to listen. If they wanted to get voted in, they would have to at least enact some of the things. We need to get to that point to where we can actually do something more than sit around and shitpost all day. Because honestly, it's pathetic. The point that we're at, it's extremely disheartening. I'm not gonna lie. I almost left this Discord whenever Eisen left. I was like, I kind of stuck around, and I did sit around and just be inactive, and I was waiting for someone to actually do something, and it never happened. Nobody stepped up. Nobody took action. Everyone was just sitting around posting memes that they found on iFunny and was like, "Oh, funny meme," and no one even had an idea in their mind to at least try to attain leadership, try to broaden the scope of the group.
So I'd like to just kind of step in a little bit. I'm an absolute not opponent, proponent of speaking to Krieger and at least trying to get him a little bit more active within the group, and hopefully at some point to completely come back as the the sheep herder per se. Not that we are sheep, but more of like the leader of the group. So, but my only concern is that if we all follow Krieger, I would assume, and we'd probably have seen his recent posting patterns, and we would probably uh, think that they might be a little cringy, and then think back to the times that the reason why we're here is because of Krieger being. If you want to learn about the ideology, I kind of mentioned this, I think, on Saturday. If you want to talk about the ideology or learn about it, you would go to Krieger. He was the forefront on funny about that, iFunny about that. But now that he seems to have changed in habit, I guess you would say, and that almost makes me a little concerned. But to speak to him still would be a great thing, and to at least see what he now thinks about what we should do with the group.
Eisen, I think the biggest problem is he was holding all this weight on his shoulders, and I think he cracked a little bit. I think he needed some time to step away, kind of readjust to things, and I think he still does need a little bit of that time, because you can definitely tell with his posting, it's kind of turned away from, hey, I want to educate you guys, to, hey, look at me, I have a skull mask and I'm shooting guns, and here's another white woman in a field, protect traditionalism. She's kind of turning into not a LARP, because if anybody follows his account, you see that he actually does do shit. But
Appearance of a larper.
Yeah, the appearance of a LARPer, and that's something that scares me. But I think if people talked to him and they reached out to him and he was able to kind of voice his concerns about things, it would be pretty good for the group.
We all know the true person behind the, I guess you would say, a relative mask that he has created upon himself right now. And it just, like you said, I believe too, in a sense, that because of him being evicted and having to work much harder beforehand, and maybe yes, he has started to kind of crack up a little bit, and that is sadly, I would say, come up onto appearance on an iFunny. But yes,
Hang on. Before I sit here and preach all night, I am gonna tell you all that I do have to step out. I did make some plans earlier to go to some movies with some of my buddies. We actually have the night off for once. So you guys feel free to sit and talk as much as you'd like to. If you do, you can record it and you know, uh, just kind of make a transcript of it, and I'll go through and read it. If you do have any serious things, any qualms or anything like that you would like to bring up to my attention or conquistadors, you can DM it to me or post it in general, whatnot, and I will take a look at it whenever I'm writing the applications tonight. Other than that, you guys, stay safe, stay active, stay spiritually active. You can always talk to me if you are in any type of spiritual crisis. I am very knowledgeable in the Bible, and I'm always here for you guys. Anything you say will be confidential. Other than that, you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
have a good one.
All right.
Good night.